Welcome to Trading Lounge and the commodities report. We'll be looking at iron ore and copper. We'll also be looking at international stocks such as Glencore here, ABX, which is Barrick Gold on the New York desk, ASX Rio, and so on, BHP. So I want to start with Glencore. It's a multinational resource mining trading company and Swiss base, and it doesn't have a lot of back data on it. Really came on sort of tap in 2011 here, so we can look at BHP and others to get more sort of history here. So I'm going to start from this low here, and this low here is interesting because in 2016 there was quite a few markets that moved up from this point. We've got the US banks, and therefore the S&P 500, the DAX, and resources. So any stock that really started, in this January sort of area here of 2016 has pretty much got the same wave count. And I like Glencore because in terms of Elliott Wave, it's a very clear count here. So we've got an impulse wave here, we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then a nice 5 waves up for wave 3. Wave 4 pulling roughly back to the wave 4 of one lesser degree, and then now we're looking for a move higher here. Now, normally within Elliott, if we look at within stocks, if we look at if the market's got an extension in wave 3 here, then we can look at wave 1 and wave 5 being roughly the same length, so that will take us to roughly 400, which is the medium level in terms of the trading levels. So this market's moving along quite nicely in its trend here. So it's got further to go. That's the main point, and this is a company that works with a lot of different minerals as such. If we cut across to, say, South 32, which is a spin-off from BHP back in, I thought it was 2014, but must have been 2015. But the thing is it's from the same low here, and it's a multifaceted mining company, with aluminium and nickel and so on and so on. But it also has a really nice wave count here too, in terms of I've got it labelled as 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5. I've got it as minor degree, but it certainly could be intermediate degree as well here, which these would be, and just be 4, but in the next one up, which would be in brackets, but not that it matters. But this has always been a bit of a guide stick to me because it had the best correction here for wave 4 here in terms of an A and a B and a C here. So we've been trading this long here, the same as Glencore, so it's approaching a major trading level. So 250 is a medium trading level, major trading level here. So we're looking in terms of a classic trading levels pattern here, really, where we see the arrival here, the reaction in 3 waves, and then that would be the wave 4 here, and then the first high above the level. Once we've got that first high above the level in, then we can expect a move down from that point there. So we're trading long, and we'll take some profit at $3, and we'll take some further up in the food chain there. But the good thing about this I've always liked is that I've always recognized this move here as I expected it to be corrective. It was corrective. It got quite large and threw me out at one point there because I thought we may be going straight up from here because we had this corrective pattern here, but it just doubled in size. That's what wave 4s can do. But we picked it back up, and we're in a nice position here for this. So but you can just see how much time there is to go here. So it should be a good run into the sort of to the well, where are we? August, September, October. Yeah, it just depends on how long wave 4 takes. You can pretty much estimate wave 3, but wave 4 might get complicated like this one, and then just double the time, increase the time. But yeah, South 32, $6 billion revenue company. It's quite big. It's worth taking note of in its respective position here. So we can have a look at. I think we'll have a look at Rio now, and then BHP. So obviously Rio here is like Vale, one of the big markets, and also starting its trend here. Rio is obviously iron ore, but starting its trend a little bit later in that year. But we're looking at the same trend here. Iron ore may have a few more legs in it, and we'll be looking at that. But here we've got wave 1 and 2, and it counts nicely for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 3, for wave 4 here. And it's possible, like when you see the beginnings of a bull market, which is basically a building process, it can have really much the same pattern as being a corrective move up here. So it's always a little bit tricky. There is a possibility, very slight now, that this wave 4 could be over here and we could come down as such, but I really don't think that's the case. Because of what other markets are doing. And also too is that if this was going to be over here, for example, then this would be the A wave, the B wave and the C wave to here, and then we wouldn't make a new high above here. But this little move here yesterday or the day before has made a new high above here, so it's making an extra leg in a new high, so it can't be that. So we're pretty safe for that to be here, and we're looking at a trend for Rio, and also for obviously iron ore stocks. I want to bring iron ore over as a commodity here for a moment, and with this market here, I had it labelled and still have it labelled as an A wave here and a B wave here and a C wave up here, and that's fine for that, and it does count quite nicely down here as 5 waves. So I just assumed in one way or another we'll be coming back up into this box here, which is the 50 and the 60% retracement level, and then move down from that point. But it's also possible for this to be the case as well, but also for this to move not to the 61.8%, but even higher up here, and then fail from here and move down. So I'll be keeping an eye on this. If it was going to move any higher up through here, then we would need to label this slightly different, would have just a bigger ABC correction like this. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with the 5-wave structure down here. So I'm just going to leave this, and it doesn't really matter at this point in time as well, because we're still in the uptrend here. But just to mention that we can have wave C up here for a bigger move here, but that's a long way to travel. So I don't think that that trend for Rio and the others is more likely to end here. So in some way, we'll probably be looking at a larger sort of move up here, like this here. I'll just get rid of that. This is something that we'll just need to keep a little bit of an eye on, that's all. And copper's much the same as well. So this move up here so far is a really nice sort of impulse wave. I won't go into that at this particular point in time, but you can think of 580 and 600 here as the resistance area here. When we're looking at copper, it's quite a big player in all this as well. So I've got this as just going to move that for a moment. I've got this here as an A and a B and a C wave up here. But at the same time too, and it's sort of expecting it to end here above this. I can see that with all trends, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and an end. And in the beginning is a building process where you've got those, those sharp things down, pulling back 50 or 60%. And then you've got the middle of the trend, the third wave here. So the third wave right in the middle here would be, just to give you an idea, this is how I'd see it anyway. So this is the strongest part here. I can see this is the building trend. So if I take that in the middle here, that's the middle of the trend. So I can just simply go, well, that's moved to here. This is just a guide stick. The other half would be here. So we'll be coming up to like 6.8 over here. We're coming to a medium level here, which is 6,500. And the market will play out across that level, be assured about that. Because what you see here, you have to understand, is not what you're going to get next. You always get the opposite of what you're looking at. It's not like the so-called real world, You look at a car and that's the one you want and that's what you get. But here, if you're looking at a trend, then you're going to get a correction. If you're looking at a correction, then you're going to get a trend. So, you need to get your little noggin around that. But this is not finished here. But also what I wanted to point out here, I don't have much data on this one here. I've been labeling it as a corrective move to the upside. But there is potential for a much larger move in the commodity market. So this is going back to 204, 202 here. And this is just the trading levels charting program. So daily chart for copper out of the UK. And this particular pattern that we're looking here really is a reaction from 8,000 and 10,000 here. We've got support on 5,000. I won't put the levels on, but I was kind of figuring that. Let's just take a look at this here for a second. Oops, wrong tool. Okay, so even if I took it from, I can see that this is wave 1 and 2 and 3 here, and I'll go 4 and 5 down to this point here, even lower. But I want to take from the highest point. We're already past the 38.2% retracement level here. So what I'm thinking here, and this is just a thought, and you can throw tomatoes at me if you want, but basically this whole pattern through here, this is possibly a corrective pattern. So we would have an A and a B wave here, because that's not an impulse wave. So an A and a B and a C wave for the A wave here. So we could put this as wave A here. We can put this as, this is up in 3 waves. This is up in 3 waves here, so we can call this one here wave B, and we can call this one down here wave C here. So if that's the case, and I'm just shooting the breeze here, then you can kind of see the potential in this. So these little moves here that are moving up here, it's possible for these guys to be wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So if that's the case, then you know that we would be looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here as such. And then we'd get a correction which would come back, and then we'd be looking at a larger move up here. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if this is the case just yet. We'll just go step by step. Our first aim is to look at the first 5 waves up here, which will come into 6,500. Here you can see that it's played out here before, so it will play out here again. And once it's played out here, we could be going up further in this. And I think this is really quite interesting, because I'm going to bring in BHP now. Just bear with me a second. Okay, so we've got BHP. We've got the Australian BHP here. The BHP is traded in Frankfurt, UK, New York desk, South Africa, and obviously here, maybe somewhere else. I don't know where they're raising money, but the thing here is, in terms of the count, is the same. 2016, so we've got wave 1 and 2 in here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, A, B, C for the fourth, and up for the fifth. So we've got a bit of an extension in the fifth, but wave 1 and wave 2 here. And you can see this too, because this is when I find something that's quite erratic like this. I would compare it to, say, Glencore or some other commodities or other markets, and I eventually find out the right count for it. But wave 1 and wave 2 here, wave 3 here, and then we're pulling back for wave 4, and now we're moving up higher here. So same with the other markets, wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to move up higher here. One of the questions we're looking at the moment is, is the banking sector going to be doing this, or will the banking sector be doing the opposite of this? But I just wanted to point out this 1 and 2, the same basic wave count that we've been looking at. And I've had it as wave C up here, but I don't think that's the case anymore, because if I look at the weekly chart here, this is the so we've got this wave 3, wave 4 here, and then wave 5 here. So we do have 5 waves up here. It can count 5 waves quite nicely. So then that leaves us with an A wave and a B wave and a C wave down to here. I was thinking this might be wave 4 moving up here, but really it's moving quite high from this, from this point here, because it would be a 38.2% retracement level from those lows here. So that's 38.2% here. So I have seen wave 4s go to 50% before. So this could have easily been an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here for wave 4, and then we come down for 1 and back for 2 and 3 and 4, 5. But when we start looking at some of the commodities and like South 32 and things, that we could see that they got further to go up, then that's going to make another, make a new high here. So that would actually give us 5 waves up. And then after 5 waves, of course, we would also be looking 5 waves up. Then we would get 3 wave counter trend back again, and then we'd go up for wave 3 here. So really, we could be at the beginnings now of of a really big expansion. I know there's a lot of negativity in the world out there, but we'll just follow the wave count and we'll move it in step by step. And currently we're long in these markets. Also, I want to point out just quickly too, I'm not going to go into the gold commodity, but I do want to go to ABX. Now, Barrick on the New York desk is the largest gold company, followed by Newcrest Mining in Australia. But there is a really good possibility now that we have our this could also be wave 1 here as well, but I don't want to get too excited about that. But certainly an A wave, an A and a B and a C here for wave B. And I feel that we can be pushing up here now. So we're going to be start looking at setups in gold stocks and weaving our way in terms of different gold stocks in different countries and at different price ranges and so on. We'll get a little basket of those, and yeah. So we're quite a way into the iron ore and the copper and so on to a point, but this trend here is just starting. So let's take a closer look at this. But they'll come out in the CFD equity trades for London, New York, and Australia at this point. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.